Welcome to the Dermastore Podcast.
A chat about all things skincare, skin health.
And if you're a real skin nerd, we hope you'll join the conversation. Welcome to episode 25 of the Dermastore Podcast. Hey, Lara, how are you doing?
Good, thanks, Greg. It's good to be back.
It is.
Hey.
Wow, it's been a bit of a break, hey?
Yeah, but we've been preoccupied.
Very busy.
Yeah.
Launched a new website, which has basically taken up 100% of my time in the last few months, which is nice to have that out the way.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Loving it. Even still exploring it, you know.
Yeah.
It's so amazing, the little things you find on the new website. So it's really, really cool.
And testing a lot of nice new products as well, so that's exciting.
Yeah, it's been a busy winter.
And we're also moving soon, so that's also taking up a bit of time at the moment, moving the HQ.
Very cool.
So, yeah, in any case, it's a good opportunity to catch up. We've got a nice episode lined up today. We've got Dr. Webster in the studio. What did you use this morning?
Our routines lately have been quite challenged. We've been testing a really important new launch on Dermastore, which is Cosmoland 2 from Mesoaesthetic. So our routines have been pared back quite substantially. So this morning I actually used my EndoCare micellar water just because it's got a microbiome, so I'm just protecting my barrier. And then I plucked on La Roche-Posay Cicaplast B5 serum. I double layer that sometimes just to get reparative hydration, soothing on the skin. And then I followed that as part of the Cosmoland protocol, the Milan Recovery Cream from Mesoaesthetic. And then I finished with my sunscreen, and I'm using the Dermastore K-Sutic SPF 50. It's a really rich, balmy product with a factor SPF 50.
Okay.
So it's quite reparative. Well, we've been experimenting, so that was the one I chose today.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. And how's your skin going?
Good. I've been really enjoying Cosmoland 2. I must say my skin really works well with retinoids. So I basically use a retinol nearly every night. So my skin hasn't sort of flared up or had any issues. Although I say that last night for the first time I felt a slight irritation. I was like, hey, I need to take a break.
Okay.
So I just used a bland barrier repair cream. I actually used the CeraVe Advanced Repair Ointment.
Yes.
That's the one I used.
Okay. And how was that?
That was good. Yeah.
So you did like a slugging sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then this morning, also just kept it super simple. I just cleansed my face with Butte Posh Wash. Mm-hmm. Such a great cleanser, by the way. It's just so good. I'm actually testing two barrier repair creams. One I can't really talk about. The other one is from Kiehl's that's coming next year. It's a stick. It's great. And sticks seem to be a bit of a trend at the moment. I don't know. And then I used a stick sunscreen actually after that. So I used two sticks.
That's cool.
Yeah. Sticks seem to be trending.
Yeah.
So barrier repair cream. I'm also testing a stick retinol at the moment from another brand, which is cool. And then I used a sunscreen from Shiseido, brand we don't stock. And I don't think this is available in South Africa, but it's incredible. It's a completely invisible stick. Like you'll even look at the stick and it looks like water on a stick.
Amazing.
It's so cool. And their sunscreen filters are very advanced.
Is that a Japanese brand?
It's a Japanese brand. I would love to have this. And it's also great for surfing and just having in your car. It doesn't leave a white cast. So I used that over the barrier repair cream this morning.
Do you think even women who wear makeup could apply it on top?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I think the stick might make it a little bit
The actual
messy.
friction of it.
And then you might end up with makeup on the stick.
I understand.
I don't. Probably not. But yeah, completely obviously invisible. So that's a great one.
Awesome.
We are talking about dry conditions that affect the scalp, and that's mainly, there is a spectrum, which we'll jump into now. Dr. Webster, good morning. How are you?
No, I'm well, thank you.
Good. Let's start at the beginning of the spectrum when it comes to dry conditions that affect the scalp. What is the kind of first indication that you might have some sort of hereditary or issue with the scalp?
So often people will come and say, Doctor, I've got a dry, itchy, scaly scalp. And we're talking about adults here, and this mainly occurs in post-puberty, so sort of from 13 years upwards. And there's a spectrum. So at one end of the spectrum is very mild seborrhoeic dermatitis or dandruff. The common name is dandruff. At the other end of the spectrum is severe scalp psoriasis, where your whole scalp is involved with plaque psoriasis. And then in between, there's something called Sebopsoriasis. So there's a spectrum from mild dandruff to severe plaque psoriasis.
Okay. I mean, a lot of people struggle with dandruff, and maybe you can just elaborate a little bit more at what point do you sort of need to intervene? Because I mean, like mild dandruff doesn't really require, I don't know, specific kind of treatment. Or
well, the first thing that comes to mind is Head and Shoulders.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So at what point do we go from there?
From there to specialists.
So first of all, just to briefly, the pathophysiology. So all of us carry a yeast in our hair follicles called Pityrosporum ovale. It's a naturally occurring yeast. And with puberty, with testosterone production, you produce more of the sebum. And the sebum is actually the food for the yeast. So with puberty, your skin becomes more oily, your scalp becomes more oily. There's more food for the yeast. And then the overgrowth of the yeast causes this itchy, scaly dermatitis. So as I say, it can be mild, it can be severe. And at times of stress, if your immune system goes down for any reason, the seborrheic dermatitis will get worse.
Okay.
So it's extremely common.
Yes.
And often if it's just very mild, a bit of flakiness, slight itchiness, then often people will just buy over-the-counter products, like Head and Shoulders or Kiehl shampoo. And it is generally better to wash more frequently. Some people think they must wash less. It's actually better to wash more frequently every day. And then I think as the condition gets more severe, you might have to add other things into it.
Yeah, and I think also what plays a role is how it affects you personally. You may just have very mild case of dandruff, but if it affects you personally because you feel self-conscious about it, or then you can look for more targeted treatments and products to treat it. And I think this topic is so popular for us because it's such a common concern among so many people. And also it's, I think, commonly misdiagnosed. Just because, especially with seborrhoeic dermatitis, a lot of people just think that they have dry, flaky skin, and they actually really don't know that they can treat it. They just leave it and think that it's normal.
Yes. So I think also important point, these are sort of chronic conditions. So sometimes people might go to their general practitioner and you might be prescribed topical steroid creams for all these conditions. But all seborrheic dermatitis, Sebopsoriasis, they're chronic. So the idea is to control it. You want to control it in a safe manner.
Yes.
So you want to try and avoid cortisone creams, cortisone or whatever, cortisone gels or shampoos or whatever. So you want to try and control it in a safe manner.
Yes, because to define chronic means it's permanent, it's long term.
It'll go through ups and downs.
Yes.
Often dependent upon stress levels.
And it's really not safe to use cortisone ongoing.
So that's maybe what we can go into a little bit more.
Exactly. So, and we have some incredible solutions, and I think that is what we are so excited about, is the solution.
Exactly. So fortunately on Dermastore, we have specialist care that can target these concerns. So for adult seborrheic dermatitis, the sort of the dried, flaky skin on the scalp, we have a product called Dermastore P, which can be used every day. That's a management solution. It's just a great everyday wash. Will help with the dandruff, the ongoing maintenance of it. And then if things get a little bit worse, that's the kind of the next phase of this is the Sebopsoriasis. Can we talk a little bit more about how do we characterize that?
Yeah, so Sebopsoriasis is a mixture, as the name suggests, a mixture between seborrheic dermatitis and psoriasis. So looking in the scalp, there'll be more redness and flakiness, and there might be sort of patches. And on the face, it's often just worse. There's more red, scaly patches.
And on the face, we're talking about closer to the nose, the folds of the nose?
Yes.
The nasolabial folds?
Yeah, so it's often between the eyebrows, along the hairline, essentially that. And this is where it often becomes more symptomatic.
Okay.
It's more itchy and it doesn't look nice, So this is where you've got to go to the next step.
Okay.
As I say, that's where you could be prescribed cortisone-based products, but as I say, you want to try and avoid those where possible. And that is where it's nice to go to some of the other products that we've got, like the Dermastore DS Plus shampoo, which you could use twice a week, and then the Dermastore P on the other days of the week.
As your maintenance
So
treatment.
Node DS is a more targeted treatment. It's a little bit more intense, so you wouldn't want to use it every single day. We use it twice a week, and then the Node P every other day. Okay, and then obviously the sort of the end of the spectrum, as you mentioned, is psoriasis. Can you talk a little bit about who that affects and the characterization of it?
So psoriasis, about 2% of the world's population suffer from it. So it's quite a common condition. And it often is a family thing. And some people will have what we call just stable psoriasis. They might just have a few little red scaly patches on the elbows or the knees, or a few patches in the scalp. But again, it can be just a few little patches in the scalp, but sometimes it might involve the whole scalp. Might be one thick plaque. So again, there's the treatment. Again, it's a chronic relapsing condition. Again, stress might make it worse. So there's the non-prescription products. And this is, again, where Bioderma has got a great product, this Bioderma Node K concentrate, which contains salicylic acid, glycolic acid, shea butter, and that you leave on for 5 or 10 minutes, and then you can rinse it off.
So it's almost like a treatment gel that you apply to the affected areas.
That's correct.
That's going to help dissolve the buildup of plaque and dead skin.
That's why you get this thick plaque, and that's why you do need something like salicylic acid or glycolic acid.
Okay.
Again, obviously you can also use cortisone-based products, prescription products, but this is a non-prescription. And then you can wash it out with the Bioderma Node K shampoo, which contains salicylic acid, and it's also got a juniper wood extract, which has got anti-inflammatory properties, which is very nice. So that's also got anti-inflammatory and does not contain cortisone. I think that's the beauty of that.
And it's accessible. There's no script required. You can purchase it, and it's safe and effective treatment for your condition.
Yeah. And then obviously that's great as it's ongoing treatment. It's not just a once-off thing. It's ongoing. And then if you get these very thick plaques, that's where we can prescribe topical corticosteroid products. Like there's some that have got cortisone with something called calcipotriol, which is a vitamin D analog. And then you can go on to, and if it's really bad, you can go on to systemic, oral treatments if it's really bad. The non-prescription products can be complementary. You can use, if it's really bad, a bad flare, use some cortisone-based products, and then still continue with the non-prescription shampoos and concentrates.
And that's probably what is the best advice to give, is to use the non-prescription products as adjunctive therapy.
Yes.
Because they really are so effective and accessible.
Just a question on psoriasis. You said it affects 2% of the world's population. At what age do you generally see it becoming a concern?
It can come at any age, actually.
Okay.
It's rarer in children, but it's generally in adults. It generally comes out in adults.
And does it start with seborrhoeic dermatitis and sort of evolve, or are they kind of mutually exclusive?
No, well, sometimes it might be the Sebopsoriasis and then evolve onto more severe psoriasis. But it generally...
Yeah, you have it or you don't.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll notice some people might, it often does in fact start in the scalp. They will notice a red scaly, often the hairdresser picks it up and says, do you know you've got psoriasis? Because they recognize it. And then, or a red scaly plaque over the elbows or over the knees. And some people just have those few little patches for years. That's a stable psoriasis. Unfortunately, you do get what we call erythrodermic psoriasis, where it progresses to every inch of your body is covered with psoriasis. And that's where you need systemic treatments, stronger drugs, prescription drugs.
Well, I love the evolution that we've done from the beginning phases, the more milder forms of the dry, itchy, scaly conditions of the scalp, and moving, and as they progress, your treatment, it does evolve and it does change. And we are so lucky to have all the solutions on Dermastore to be able to help our patients.
Exactly. So that's the beauty of it. So yeah, we'll update some content online if you guys want to read more about this. We'll be putting up a Bioderma landing page specifically for their No Dear products on Dermastore. So if you have any questions, as usual, reach out to our support. And yeah, that's a great episode. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Cheers.